Yo, what's up guys? I'm Grandmaster Shaman and welcome back to Flower Paradise, and today we have another episode of our zero overall franchise mode. We are currently sitting at 73 overall. We are halfway-ish about through our third season in the 2021 season, and we just came off our second win of the entire mode. So we're looking pretty good. We sit at 1-4 right now. We're probably not going to make the playoffs or anything, but if we can win a couple more games, we could be looking to be in a good position moving forward. But we have a nice little bye week, and we have a couple of player contracts coming up here with Ryan Connolly, Josh Malone, and CJ Board. And none of these players I particularly... I mean, this guy's 70 overall, and he wants less money than both of the wide receivers do, which is kind of nice. And we only have 3 total middle linebackers. I haven't looked at the draft yet. I might do that in the future. I have it currently set to auto scout, so I actually haven't seen it at all this year. But I will probably be checking that out within the coming weeks. But thank you guys so much for the support on the series to this point. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, all of that good stuff. As we are just going to get into it, I don't really think that I want to do too much here. But I might try and keep this guy for another couple years. So, I mean, really, this is a really cheap $1 million contract that we can get for 2 years, just to kind of make sure that we have a consistent backup. So, I mean, I think I'll take that. These two guys, though, 69 overall wide receivers, I don't really feel like there's too much of a need, especially this guy's 27. He's going to start regressing, even though he's only 68 overall soon. So, I don't really think that there's any point in keeping either of these two players on the team. And let's just check real quick if we have any. No, we don't have any of those upgrades, so we're just going to move on to the next week. So I've seen a lot of people like to play with the injuries on a little bit higher, because then injuries tend to matter more. The person that I happen to be watching in this particular situation is 51. I do like speed to matter as well, so I put that on 0-10. But if you guys don't want me to put it on 0, I don't really mind, because I'm not playing any of the games. It's a lot more OP when you're playing the games and you have like Tyreek Hill on your team with 99 speed, then you put that on 0 and you're ridiculously overpowered. But the way it is right now, I feel like speed should play some sort of a role in the game, whether we're playing against Tyreek Hill or, you know, or a 99 speed player or not. So I like to keep that on 0, but we are going to put that up to 51. At the moment, but we take on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, who are 4-2, and we beat the Steelers, surprisingly enough. I mean, I know they have Mason Rudolph. They're not exactly the most overpowered team or anything, but this is also the second to last week before the trade deadline, so I'm not sure what to do here. We do have an upgrade for Albert Huggins Jr., our defensive tackle that's 65 overall now. So that's kind of nice. He's still 24 years old, and he hasn't really had a lot of upgrades over the last several seasons. But it's nice to see him get something. So we now have our first ever back-to-back win, as we beat the Baltimore Ravens right after beating the Steelers 2 weeks ago, discluding the bye. And, wow. We were able to come away with a victory over Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Wyatt Kane had 310 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He was sacked 3 times, but we were able to come away with the victory. Brendan Booth, our rookie out of Auburn, had 72 yards rushing, which is pretty nice. And Wyatt Kane had 4 rushes for 18 yards as well, which is pretty darn awesome. We take those 100%. Brandon Cooks had 80 yards. Philip Slade, our rookie tight end out of Notre Dame, had 72 yards, which is really awesome. Our middle linebacker, rookie out of San Diego State, had 10 tackles. This game was absolutely terrific. We now have back-to-back wins, so we're 2-4 now, which is really, really cool. But both wins came by just 3 points, so a big turnaround between the Eagles game and the Steelers game. But I can't believe we beat the Ravens, with Lamar Jackson. That is really huge. I did notice that we had an injury here to Quentin Bell, a left end who dislocated his hip. He's out for 7 weeks, which is pretty much the vast majority of the remainder of the season. But hey, if we can make a late push, we might need him for the playoffs. So we have a lot of upgrades to get to here, as we start with Terrell Haywood, our left guard. And, he's in his second season. He's only 22, and now he's 80 overall at left guard. He has been playing absolutely terrific, and we 100% take that. Then we have our right guard, Nathan Cooper, who is up to 78 overall, and he has been playing really, really well. Obviously, he's a rookie out of USF. He's got a star development, so we do know his development traits, so we might actually be able to see some of our players' development traits that were hidden. We also have our right tackle moving up to 76 overall. So pretty much our entire offensive line, his is 5 points away from finding out what his development is. Then we have Nash Sheriff, our center, who's going to increase power, and he's up to 76 overall, so that's amazing, and he's very close. Again, we have so many rookies on this team. We're going to be good for a while in terms of just pure talent. Then we have our 68 overall wideout, CJ Board, who is, he's getting up there. He's 27 already. So I'm a little bit worried about how he's going to regress soon, and he's still only 68 overall, so he hasn't really come to fruition like I've kind of wanted him to. Then we have our 67 overall right guard. We just got so much ability points for our offensive line, so we take those 100%. We also got Kendall Sharpton, who's up to 64 overall at defensive tackle. That's going to be one of the big needs, is defensive line. We have the boy Philip Slade out of Notre Dame, who is, just so good, so talented. And yeah, we're almost also able to see his development traits, so that's going to be super fantastic. Then we have Dion Lane, who is, of course, now a 57 overall corner. He's been playing really well for someone who is 57 overall. I've been very impressed. And then we have Kyle Shermer, our backup quarterback. I'm going to increase improviser. That's going to put him up to 56 overall. So he's been slowly getting there. But, it's probably about where he's going to cap off soon. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now beaten 3 of the 4 teams in the AFC North as we beat the Cincinnati Bengals. We beat the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Bengals all back to back to back. One of the weakest divisions, obviously. The Ravens trash, Steelers trash, Cincinnati trash. Yep, none of them can compare. Matthew Husted got 2 picks. Terrible QB. Wyatt Kane threw 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Booth had almost 100 rushing yards and a touchdown. Finally getting some time in for Brandon Booth. Receiving, Brandon Cooks, 48 yards. Philip Slade, our tight end out of Notre Dame, being awesome as he usually is. Roman Fields has 11 tackles. Feels good. 3 straight wins, all against the AFC North, as we go to Los Angeles to play the Rams for the next game, and we beat them by 2 touchdowns. We also have a breakout player chance. It's Brandon Booth's opportunity. 3 touchdowns or 150 total yards of offense. Yike. I don't know if that's going to happen. That is a lot to ask. We also got a new injury. It is going to be Sharpton, our 64 overall defensive tackle, he tore his shoulder muscle, but he's only going to be out for 1 week, so not too bad. Not really worried too much about that, to be honest. And we have no upgrades. So the only player that we know now is Philip Slade. He is the only player that's been revealed to us, I believe, outside of our offensive line. Our entire offensive line is star talent, as well as Philip Slade, our 60 overall tight end. And, I mean, he's star development, but the fact that he's 60 overall is going to make it very difficult for him to be able to do much of anything. And, like, look at Wyatt Kane, man. This guy is 72 overall, but he has barely gotten any sort of ability upgrades. He might get one after the next game, but he really hasn't been able to do too much in terms of development, which is really obnoxious. But he has played well. He has played well, and that's all I can really ask for. Superstar development trait players tend to just play better, regardless of their overall. So, this is where we're sitting at the moment. And, I don't know. It should be interesting to see Fields' development. We still probably got about 2 or 3 more games until we find out his development. And Booth. He's given an opportunity, and we don't even know his development trait. So whatever it is, if he gets this opportunity, if he does his breakout moment, it could be a step higher than what it was originally, which would be really crazy. The train cannot be stopped. We beat the Rams 31-14 after a 17-point fourth quarter to pull away from Los Angeles, and we are now a 4-win football team with 4 wins in a row. I did not see this coming. It's only the 3rd year, and we're already a 500 football team from 0 overall. So this is phenomenal news. And as most of our players are really, really young and have a lot of time left before they start really regressing. So that's phenomenal news. Wyatt Kane threw 226 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, unfortunately. While Jared Goff had 3 interceptions against our powerful defense. He only had a 15.7 quarterback rating, and he was sacked 3 times. So this was one of our best defensive games that we have had in recent memory. Travion Williams had 35 yards. Nate Sapp. So I wonder if our running back Brendan Booth got injured in this game. It's very possible, as he only had 2 rushing attempts, despite being the starting quarterback or running back. Sorry. Brandon Cooks had 72 yards. Philip Slade, our tight end out of Notre Dame, just continuing to rock it, as he has 49 yards receiving in this game. Defensively, we didn't get a lot of tackles, but who had the sacks? Daniel Fuller had 2 sacks, and Patrick, really difficult name to pronounce, had a sack. And then on top of that, we had we had Keanu Neal, Marshawn Lattimore, of course, 2 of our best players, and then we had Chidobe Awuzie getting a pick. So, I mean, we take that 100%. And we are now 4-4. We are a 500 football team after just 3 seasons. Well, not even. We still got time to go. We still got 7 games left this season. So, I'm pretty stoked for how this is going to go. We do have another breakout chance with Jeffrey Bernard. So that's going to be interesting to see if he can get 100 yards of total offense to go up to, I believe, a star development trait. Obviously, that probably means that our Brendan Booth, our running back, is probably a star development trait because it takes more stats to move up to superstar. So I assume, unless he's a superstar, and that was what it took to get to Superstar X Factor. But I doubt it. We do have a couple of upgrades, I noticed. So we got Tyus Bowser, our left end. He's only 26, so he's still got some time left to still develop before he starts regressing. But at 79 overall and already 26 years old, I don't know how much more. I don't know how much more we've got. I went back twice because I'm a dummy. But some of these players, we got to make some big decisions at some point. We do have Brendan Booth, our running back, who is going to move up to 78 overall, and he has been playing extremely well, all things considered. We still won't technically see his development trait for another 100 snaps, but we probably know he's a star development. And then we obviously have our quarterback, Wyatt Kane, who's moved up to 74 overall. That's nice to see. Awareness, break sack, 2 throw mid, and a throw short. So that's pretty good for us, as he is only in his second year, so he's still got time to develop. And if he can continue these stats, maybe, you know, he wins NFC Quarterback of the Year, and that gives him some upgrades. We don't know. Mark McLaurin has been playing well as he moves up to 73 overall. And considering what this guy started out at the beginning of the series, he's been developing quite quickly, and I'm glad he's a superstar development. He had such a good opening season. And then we have our punter, who moves up to 72 overall. I want him to be a little bit more accurate, especially as a punter, but he only gains 2 awareness, so doesn't really help us too much. As Daniel Fuller moves up to a 70 overall defensive tackle. That's phenomenal. And Deion Sizer, I'm going to add some speed rushing ability that puts him up to 64 overall, which is phenomenal. But if we look at our division right now, this is such a tough division, and it will be a tough division for quite some time. But I will say that at 4-4, we do have a chance. The Packers lost last week. We're only 2 games behind Green Bay for an opportunity to be the division leaders. And honestly, considering where the NFC stands, you know, there's still lots of time left for us to move up. Because the best team is the Packers and Seahawks with 2 losses, which means they're only 2 games ahead. And the Seahawks have lost back-to-back games, so maybe they're getting some injuries. Maybe they're falling down a little bit. We don't have any injuries, and Sharpton is returning from his 1-week hiatus. I do want to show you guys what I've been doing draft-wise. This is the first time you guys have really seen it here. So I've done a little bit with quarterbacks, but I'm not going to lie. The quarterback class in this is absolutely horrendous. As you see, the best quarterback is a second rounder. So this is very unrealistic in that sense. When was the last time? I guess it's possible. What, a couple of years ago there was like no quarterbacks who went in the first round or something. It wasn't that long ago, but it's very, very, very uncommon to see a class like this. This guy has quote-unquote late first-round talent, but I'm not really convinced, to be honest, but we'll see. This guy's early second, right? Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see, but I don't think any of these guys are like future stars in the NFL. Not that we need a quarterback particularly. I haven't really been looking at running backs because both of our top 2 running backs are rookies. I don't really think that we need that. Wide receiver-wise, doesn't look like a very good class. I did get this guy. I only went after him because he's from Notre Dame, but he's an early first-round talent with A+ catching as an early third-round prospect. I might take this guy with with our first-round pick if he's available, because that is some talent right there. A+ catching for a wide receiver that's a rookie is phenomenal. But he's a deep route runner, which is not what we want. We want him to be a physical player like these 2 guys at the top. But, I mean, with A+ catching, I mean, we can easily develop this guy into a physical wideout. So, something to keep an eye on. Then we have another possibility, because our tight end is a star development trait, but he's only 60 overall. And while he did play at Notre Dame and he has been playing very well, I don't think he's going to be able to develop. Like, he's going to need to move up to superstar really quickly, and he's going to need to do it soon if we want him to be a star tight end in the league. So I've been looking at tight ends a little bit. We found Leo Miles in the 7th round, but I mean, C+ run blocking, C+ impact blocking. He's very much a blocking tight end, so it's not exactly what we are looking for. He's a blocking tight end with C+ run blocking, which isn't even that good. So I'm not entirely sure about him. And then, of course, Luther Osgood seems to be pretty darn decent. I mean, he's a possession catching tight end, and he's got B+ catch in traffic, which is pretty good, and B catching, which is really solid for tight end. But he will probably go in the first round as an early first round pick. He'll probably go like between 6 and 12 in the draft. So it should be interesting to see where he goes. We don't really need linemen. So, I mean, I looked at this guy. He's a first round talent, obviously. But I did a couple of players that just are supposed to go in the first round, like Leon Callahan and James Britt. We are going to need a defensive lineman. I'm just barely starting on working on, seeing where they're going to end up. Haven't really been doing too much except with middle linebacker. These guys are all fantastic prospects, to be honest. And then Xavier Smith, or Javier Smith, or whatever you want to call him, is a pass coverage right outside linebacker, which is super good, and he could potentially get on the team. I'm not entirely sure how our superstar development is going to go for our 73 overall outside linebacker, because he's still only 73 overall. And while he was like 50 something, he's made a lot of progress, but he's still a long way from being a premier outside linebacker in the league. And then at corner, I mean, a couple of good guys, a couple of bad guys, pretty standard stuff, and then a couple of strong safeties. So we'll have to see how that goes, but it should be interesting. The winning streak has come to an end after we had tried to come back. 14 points unanswered in the fourth quarter, but it was just not enough as we lose by 5 to the Chicago Bears in Chicago in our divisional matchup, and we are now under 500 once again. But hey, this season has been, absolutely terrific so far. We've really made some massive progress. Kane had 230 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. He was sacked 4 times. Didn't really help us too much. Booth had a touchdown, and Kane had a rushing touchdown. But not very much success on the ground either. We didn't really have much offensive production in this game. Philip Slade, though, had 76 yards receiving, and Dortch had 69 yards receiving, which is really solid. Defensively, 12 tackles for Keanu Neal. Awuzie had 8. Not too shabby. Tyus Bowser did get to the quarterback. He's been playing pretty mad decent, and obviously no interceptions. I don't know why I looked at that. But that does give us our first loss in the last 5 weeks, so that's highly unfortunate. But we have 3 straight home games, potentially winnable home games. That's the question. Obviously, we're playing the 2019 NFC champion San Francisco 49ers, so that's a little bit scary, but we'll have to see how that goes. We do miss out on an opportunity for Bernard to break out, which I'm not too surprised about. But we do have 2 new injuries. Christian Jones, a 12 overall player, not too worried about that. Daniel Fuller re-injured himself for 7 weeks with a broken collarbone. I don't want to put him on IR, but we'll have to see. If we lose another game, we might put him on IR because we're probably not going to make the playoffs. But hey, if we beat the 3-6 San Francisco 49ers at home, we have a chance still to make the playoffs. But there's Philip Slade getting another opportunity here as he is going to move up to 61 overall. Gotta love the tight end out of Notre Dame, rocking it in his rookie season. So he's ranked 112, but if he continues to play as well as he's been playing, maybe he can really break out and get up to 70 in the near future. That would be very nice and very helpful. So we're about at the mid-season mark, and I'm just curious to go out of the way. Oh man, Gary Todd is a MVP candidate. That's a little bit sad because we did pass on him. But if we look at our NFC awards, It looks like we don't really have too much going for us in terms of, like, potential awards. Brendan Booth has a very close opportunity to become Rookie of the Year, and that would be phenomenal for his overall, as well as Philip Slade, our tight end. He's been playing absolutely terrific. And Nate Sapp is in 10th. I don't know how much... do you only get points if you win, or do you get points if you're, like, in the top 5? I'm not entirely sure how that works, but in fact, we have 3 Rookies of the Year potential candidates on here. And then defensively, Roman Fields has an opportunity, and that's about it for him. Most of our rookies went to the offensive line, so I'm not too surprised. It doesn't look like Wyatt Kane is going to be best quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. And then I don't think we have the best running back or best wideout or best O-line. Yeah, we're definitely a long stretch. Tyus Bowser has been playing well. He's on the defensive line list. You know, lots of Giants here, but not really too helpful for us. We do have a Woozy on best DB. He's been playing extremely well. And that's about it from us at this point. But it should be interesting. We have the 27th offense, but the 13th defense, and that is really good. If we're top 15 in defense, 79 overall defense, that's absolutely phenomenal. Well, we didn't lose. Man, we were up 24 or at least 17-0, and we let them score 24 points in the fourth quarter to tie the game, if you will. As we tie the San Francisco 49ers, it's not a loss, but it doesn't really help us get to the playoffs at this point. Wyatt Kane had 2 touchdowns and a pick. Garoppolo had 1 and a pick. Rushing the ball, Booth had 37 yards. Philip Slade at 128 yards receiving, which is phenomenal. He just destroyed it. Brandon Cooks had 105. Wow, these two just dominated the game receiving, and he had a touchdown. He's been playing outstanding for someone who's 61 overall. Like, I don't know how he's been able to do it, but he has. There's Derek Cohn, our third corner, who got 9 tackles in this game. That's terrific. Tyus Bowser got our only sack of the game, and Owuzie continuing to play extremely well. He had the interception in this one, so we end up tying. So we are now 4-5-1 with just a handful of games left, which is really not quite where we want to be, as the Packers move up to 8-2, and the Bears are 7-3. So if we look at the NFC standings, we are very much out of the hunt right now at 22nd in the league. And yeah, we're a long way from where we want to be if we want to try and make the playoffs, as we tie San Francisco, which is very much not what we... So one of the biggest issues at this point is our injury situation, as we had 2 more injuries. We added Brandon Booth, our rookie running back, and Roman Fields, our rookie middle linebacker, both out for a pretty decent amount of time. So that's really unfortunate, as we lose. We now have 5 players on the injury list. Tristan Jones doesn't really matter. He's obviously 12 overall. I hope he'll be off the team by the end of the year, but that is really unfortunate for us. We do have a couple of upgrades. We have our center, Nash Scharf, as we're going to increase his agility a little bit, get him to where he needs to be agility-wise, as he is a rookie with 76 overall, which is pretty helpful for us. Patrick here is moving up to 66 overall at right end. I mean, he probably won't be too helpful for much longer. Derek Cohn, we're going to increase his zone coverage ability. He doesn't increase an overall point, but he's slowly getting there. And then we have Marquez Tucker, our right tackle, moving up to 62 overall. So I'm a little bit worried about how the season's going to go. We lost another couple of major players on our team, and if we look at the board here, Booth is going to be out for for about 2 weeks, which isn't significant, but we still haven't officially known that he's star development. I assume he's going to be star development, but I don't know how it's going to go. So that's going to put Sapp in, who is probably, a very long time. He hasn't even had half. He's not even at half. So we'll probably won't know until the end of the year for him. As Slade didn't get an upgrade after that amazing performance he had, which is a little bit of a letdown. We really need our defensive line to be a focal point over this offseason. But we do lose Fields, who is a superstar development trait, which is, wow, I didn't expect it to be superstar. I thought everyone was going to be star development because that's just usually how it goes. But Fields is a superstar development trait. He's going to be out for 5 weeks, though. And I worry with players getting injured in their rookie season. I really worry about their injury decreasing, at the end of the season or something along those lines. So that's going to be a major letdown to not have Fields for potentially the rest of the season. Right? Where are we at? 12? Yeah, that would be 5. Well, no, 5 weeks would be at the end of 16. So we might have him for 1 game for the rest of the season. So that's huge. But we'll see if we can beat the Bears. I don't have much faith, especially considering some of the injuries that we've had. But hey, I mean, I'd rather have these injuries now while we're still kind of trying to be good than have these injuries after we're already one of the better teams in the league. So we do lose to the Chicago Bears, and our season's pretty much over at this point. I don't really think there's much of a chance that we do anything to get into the playoff hunt, as we lose 24-10. Not much offensive production. Kane had 2 interceptions. Austin Johnston had 2 touchdowns. He played at USC, and you're telling me he outplayed my boy out of Rice? Man, that's a letdown. Travion Williams had 29 yards rushing. Interesting that I wonder if it doesn't actually show whether or not they're injured on this list, but I wonder if we lost our backup running back as well. Our other Nate Sapp only had 1 rush attempt. I wonder if he got injured on that rush attempt, and now we don't have a running back, basically. Greg Dortch had 78 yards receiving. Philip Slade had 49, which isn't terrible. Shazier 9 tackles. We did get to the quarterback twice. No, 3 times. So interesting there, as both of those guys got the interceptions for the team. So that's going to put us at a brutal 4-6-1, but we're not in last place, and the Vikings are in last place. So we play the Vikings this week, and if we lose to the Vikings, I'll be incredibly disappointed. Did we lose our other running back? We didn't. He just barely played. We lost Jake Matthews, our left tackle, who's 80 overall, to a partial MCL tear for potentially the rest of, I believe that would be the rest of the season. Yeah, I believe both of these guys are the rest of the season. I could put them on IR, but I don't really know if there's much of a point. So Brandon Booth has come back. I'm going to start the backup. I like the double XP, and this guy's also a rookie with only 6 overall drop. I want to get him some playing time, get him some double XP gain. But I am going to go into the depth chart here. He only had 1 rush attempt in the last game. So while he is the starting running back, I bet he is not the power rusher. No, he is not. So I'm actually going to move him to the power rusher and the third down defense, or the third down running back as well. So that way he gets more snaps, and we can take full advantage of the double XP. I think that would be probably in our best interest at this point. And then we got Nathan Cooper, our other right guard, who's going to move up to 79 overall. So that's phenomenal. He's been progressing nicely in his rookie year. He could be a very, very good addition to the squad. as time goes on. Greg Dortch doesn't gain an overall point, but he does get awareness, catch and traffic release, and spectacular catch, which is kind of nice. And then Ezekiel Hughes, our other cornerback, moves up in zone coverage, putting him at 65 overall. And that's going to be helpful, I think. But without further ado, we're playing the worst team in our division. If we lose this game, I'm going to be very disappointed. Well, we barely avoided disappointment. A 20-point second quarter propels us to the victory as we beat Minnesota 27-24, giving us a 5-win season in our third year. 2 years ago, we were an 0-16 football team. Last year, we were a 1-15 football team. And now every player on our team is under the age of 30, and we are a 5-win football team in our third season. So we have been progressing very nicely. Wyatt Kane had 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kirk Cousins threw a nice little interception and got sacked once. Sapp ended up with 56 yards on 21 carries for a touchdown. So we took good use of that XP gain. Elijah McGuire had 13 yards and a touchdown as well. I'm very happy with that. We got a decent game for him, so that'll be nice to see what the XP comes out to, because he did get double XP. Greg Dortch had 100 yards receiving and a touchdown, which is really awesome. Philip Slade and Brandon Cooks also played well. Defensively, Awuzie had 9 tackles. Shazier had 7. If we look at our sacks, Tyus Bowser and Derek Cohn, our corner, had half a sack each. And I believe Keanu Neal got the pick from Kirk Cousins. So that's pretty great. We take those, and that's going to put us at a 5-win season. We're probably not going to be able to, how about them Dolphins? They have, their rebuilding has worked out pretty well, huh? I think did they get Andrew Luck? I can't remember if they got Andrew Luck or not. But if we look at the NFC playoff race, we are obviously very much out of the picture at 5-6-1. But, if we win out, we got, 4 games left? If we win out and a lot of those other teams end up losing, we could potentially slide in there, as Brandon Booth is now back into the lineup, so we take that 100%. I have no quarrels with that, as we're going to auto-reorder the depth chart, so that way we have everything nice and ready. So Sapp's going to, once again, take over the backup position. I do wonder about power halfback, so he is going to take snaps there, and then third down running back, he's just going to take all the snaps. That's fine. I do like him to take all of the snaps, because he is a very good player. Did he get an upgrade? We didn't get an upgrade for our double XP game, so that's unfortunate. But Emmanuel Hall moves up to 72 overall at wide receiver. That's great. We take those. He's only in his 3rd season. He's 24 years old. He's still got like 5 years until he starts regressing. So he's working out pretty well. Malone, we're going to increase physicality. He's not going to gain an overall point, but I don't really mind that, as he gets a bunch of stats that we kind of need for our short passing game. Blair DeMarco, our backup free safety, is going to move up to 65 overall, so we take that 100%. Philip Slade, our tight end out of Notre Dame, 62 overall. 100% take that. A lot of good stats there, as he increases quite a few. And Weathersby, our backup left tackle, who's been getting playing time for the injured player, moves up to 61 overall as well. So, I mean, we've been playing pretty well. Now, can we beat this is a winnable game. This is a winnable game. We can beat the 6-6 Carolina Panthers. But will we actually be able to accomplish that? Another win streak coming on. 35-21. We beat the Carolina Panthers. And we now have a 6-win season. Just 2 years after going 0-16, and just 1 year after going 1-15, only winning the last possible game that we could have won. Wyatt Kane had 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, 292 yards, and was only sacked 1 time with a 144 quarterback rating. That was phenomenal. Cam Newton ended up playing with 2 touchdowns and was sacked 4 times. So Brandon Booth, 46 yards rushing on 16 carries. Sapp had 10 yards. Not bad. Brandon Cooks had 84 yards. Dortch had 71. Jeter played, so that's scary. Jeter played. Oh, boy. I really hope Philip Slade didn't injure himself. I really like that guy. Tyus Bowser had all 4 sacks. This man's getting a raise. There's no way. This dude has been rocking it all season long. He has been one of our best pickups to this point. And 4 sacks by himself in this game. 4-0. Nobody else got a sack. Just him 4 times. That is incredible. Wow. What a game for Tyus Bowser as he came in firing on all cylinders. And we are now 6-6-1. A nice, solid, even record. And that is really awesome. As we move up, we are just outside the playoff race right now. I don't think we can make it. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th. Only 6 teams make the playoffs from the NFC. So we are 9th place. It's technically possible. We would have to win all of our last 3 games and get a little lucky, but we technically could make the playoffs. Tyus Bowser, right? Yeah, absolutely dominated. 6 tackles, 4 sacks. Oh, what a game for him. We did get an injury. Please don't be my tight end. It wasn't. He just probably had a bad game. Booth got re-injured and is out for 8 weeks, so I'm going to look at his injury. Hold on. What is your injury rating? 90. His injury rating's a 90, and he's got re-injured, and he's out for the rest of the season. I'm going to have to place you on IR. Because 8 weeks, even if we made it to the Super Bowl, you wouldn't play, I think. Maybe you would, barely, but wow. That's rough. That's really unfortunate to see him go down again. We are going to put him on IR, and I think I might actually sign a running back potentially. Let's see if there's any good running backs that we can potentially sign here. That would be helpful. Oh, there's Travis Homer. He played for... He's currently playing for Seattle. I don't know. Maybe we can get Wayne Gallman for the rest of the season. I don't know if we want to really do that. Considering... Let's see who is the fastest. TJ Logan. Chris Ringer is 58 overall. And Urban Hobbs, I believe he was actually on our team before, if I remember correctly. His name sounds very familiar. Let's see, what's ball carrying? 82. I think we'll just stay with our current lineup. I don't really think that we need anybody particularly on... I don't really think there's anybody on there that could really do a lot of help for us. So we're going to increase Brandon Cooks up to 87 overall. As he gets a nice little upgrade. He's been working hard. He's in his 7th season at 27 years old. He's getting really close to the threshold of, you know, where he starts regressing. And regression in this game can be a bitch, if you know what I mean. Like, I was watching someone else's playthrough of where they took the worst quarterback that they possibly could in the draft and tried to make them into a Super Bowl MVP or a Super Bowl quarterback. And, after a few seasons, he added Aaron Rodgers as like a mentorship, because you can do that when you're the coach, is you can potentially get a mentorship. Aaron Rodgers was 67 overall, and I hate that. Like, Tom Brady is 42, and this dude is still 90 overall. Like, Aaron Rodgers would not fall that low. Like, maybe 85, maybe 82 even by that point in his career. Maybe he has that big slump. But the regression in this game is a little bit too drastic, in my opinion. I think that that's something that should probably look into. But we got Christian Jones back. Not that that matters. He's 12 overall. And Quentin Bell back, which is kind of nice. But we play the Green Bay Packers the We played two potential playoff teams, the Packers and the Seahawks, in our last 3 games. I wouldn't really put our money on winning, but you never know. Well, with this, I think we're officially out of the playoff hunt. Not that we had much chance to begin with, but we do lose by 10 points, 14-24. Both Rodgers and Kane threw 3 interceptions in this game, and were sacked 3 times, so our defense still came to play. Dexter Williams got a bulk of the carries for Green Bay. Interesting. And we did not run the ball well at all. Not really that surprising, to be fair. Bernard actually led the team in receiving. Colin Jeter played a lot. Oh, I know why. It's because I auto-reordered the thing. Okay, my bad. It's my own fault that my tight end hasn't been getting playing time. It figures. But McLaurin had a sack. Connolly had a sack. Tyus Bowser has continued to just rock it. Campbell had a pick. Amos, Hughes, Shazier, Reed, Jackson. 6 interceptions in this game. It was a sloppy game that we ended up losing. The first thing that I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go into my depth chart and fix that because I was a dummy. And I reordered the depth chart, and that puts Philip Slade at backup because, again, I'm stupid, obviously. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing after that. But, yeah, it was really my own fault that he hasn't been getting that much playing time. So that's highly unfortunate. But Hughes, our corner, had a pick 6 in this game with 6 tackles. So he did end up winning Player of the Week. So that's some nice XP. We take that 100%. Roman Fields, our linebacker, is in, and I actually do want him to play through the injury because I do want him to get some experience, and I don't really think Connolly might even stay on the team afterwards, but we do lose a couple of more guys, as I believe Patrick Effery is out for 7 weeks with a PCL tear. I'm once again going to place him on IR, but I don't really think I'm going to sign anybody, especially this late in the year. So there's not a whole heck of a lot I can really do at this point. Then let's check out upgrades. Maybe this dude... Okay, so Von Bell got himself a nice zone coverage addition here as he goes up to 81 overall. He has been playing... he hasn't actually made too much progress here, which is kind of annoying, but, it is what it is. Leonard Rudolph goes up to 77 overall as a rookie. That's pretty good. McLaurin is up to 74 overall. We take that 100%. He's been terrific. I have no complaints. Ezekiel Hughes up to 66 overall at corner. He's been slowly making progress. And Christian Campbell, another corner. We're going to increase his zone coverage, putting him at 64 overall. And that's going to be very helpful for us as we move on to our Vikings game. Another very winnable game against the worst team in the division. We lose this game and be a little disappointed, but here we go. Well, we might be missing some of those injuries as we got blasted. 32-21, we lost by 11 points against the worst team in the division, and that's really unfortunate. Kane had 2 picks and was sacked twice. Sapp ended up with 53 yards rushing, so that's a thing. Receiving-wise, Hall played well. Travion Williams had 52 receiving yards. Slade caught 5 passes, finally back, in a decent position in the lineup. Harrison Smith had 13 tackles. Obviously, he's just an absolute badass out of Notre Dame. Nothing you can really do there. Danielle Hunter did stuff, and Mike Hughes got both picks. So that is going to put us at 6-8-1. Now, if we look at the NFL, where are we currently sitting? So the Bengals, Redskins, Jaguars are all fighting for the number 1 pick. The Bengals have the advantage there. But right now, we are sitting in 21st place out of 32 teams, which means we currently have the 11th pick in the draft. I'm wondering if we should just throw this game to try and get a slightly better feel here. I am going to keep you out of the final game of the season. I don't want you, like, getting seriously injured and being out forever and all of that stuff. But we get yet another bunch of injuries. Brandon Cooks tore his bicep and is out for 11 weeks. And Tyus Bowser broke his collarbone and is out for 6 weeks also. So this last game is pretty much a lost cause to begin with. And that's just highly unfortunate. I don't know. At this point, I don't know what we do here to make any sort of a difference. Yeah, this is rough. This is a rough end of the season. We had such high hopes going into it when we won against the Steelers, and then we went on a 4-game win streak, and we won 5 of 6 games, and unfortunate that it had to turn out like this at the end of the year. But we do get an upgrade for our center as he moves up to 77 overall, which is really awesome. Wyatt Kane, I'm going to once again go up on improviser. He's going to stay at 74 overall, but that's fine. I'm not too worried. And then Derek Cohn, our corner out of Notre Dame, moves up to 64 overall as well. But we're going into our last game of the regular season, and I don't know. It should be interesting against Seattle. I don't really have much hope for anything. They're one of the best teams in the entire league. But here we go. We won. We beat Seattle. I mean, we lost a higher draft pick, so we're picking a little bit lower than we would. But even with all of those injuries, we beat one of the best teams in the league, so we know it's possible. We forced Russell Wilson to throw 2 interceptions. We had 2 ourselves, but we had 321 yards, 3 touchdowns. Sapp had 35 yards rushing, but receiving-wise, Emmanuel Hall, 106 yards receiving. Bernard had 66. Dortch had 47. Slade had 42. And then defensively, McLaurin had 8 tackles. Ryan Shazier had the only sack. And then Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Conley, our middle linebacker, ended up getting both of the picks. So we won the game. I don't know how we did it, but we beat Seattle. So that's pretty crazy. Nathan Cooper, our right guard, is moving on up in the world to 80 overall, which is phenomenal in his rookie season. I believe, did they all go up? Probably. I just want to make sure that he was actually a rookie, but I think so. Yep. So, in his rookie season, and then Brandon Booth went up to 79. I'm a little bit worried about his injury. It's still 90, but he was injured quite a few times this year, which is a little bit worrisome because I know that running backs, can get injured on a regular basis, but we really don't want to see that happen too frequently at this point. And then Marquez Tucker, our right tackle, moving up to 63 overall as well. So we end the season at this point. All of our staff is coming back. I'm not really too worried about that. We signed a bunch of players from the practice squad to the team. And this is what we're looking at in terms of our lineup. So it says 72 across the board. So I don't know if our defense went down due to injury or if it's just... Oh. So the Green Bay Packers are going to play the Tennessee Titans in the Super Bowl. Well, Aaron Rodgers has an opportunity to go out on top. I think if he wins, he'll probably just end up retiring. But Josh Allen ended up winning MVP out of Buffalo, so that's pretty surprising. So let's check out the lineup right now for our football team. It doesn't look like there's any major changes. Sapp, of course, is a star player. I'm pretty sure the other guy is too. We just won't be able to see him because he's currently on IR. None of our receivers increased at all. Yep, everything's pretty much the same. Defensively, though, Tyus Bowser, star. After an amazing season, he rocked it. Awuzie and Marshawn Lattimore are superstars. So that's interesting. They both must have had pretty dang amazing seasons. And then we knew about Fields and McLaurin. So we now have 5 superstars on defense. Of course, one of them is only 64 overall. He hasn't really done much with that superstar development trait. But hey, not bad. So that's about it. I looked at yearly awards. I was going to say something, but none of our players won anything, and none of our players got upgrades. So, the grand finale. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers have won the Super Bowl. And what a season for them as they do get back to the promised land. Now let's check out retirees real quick. So a couple of guys. Drew Brees retired. He played for Kansas City in his last season, which is really weird. Mentoring Patty Mahomes, I suppose. Matt Ryan retires after only 14 years. Dustin Colquitt. Eric Berry retires as a Cardinal. Daniel Kilgore also. And Pete Carroll, John Gruden, and Bruce Arians all retire from coaching as well. So not too many retirees at this point, but very interesting. And then let's check out player regression, of course. For our team, we didn't lose too much. CJ Board at 28 ended up going down 10 overall points at 67 overall. Good thing we didn't re-sign him. Our kicker only went down 1 awareness, as he's now at 48 awareness. He has just not been playing very well, so I'm not really too concerned about bringing him back. Ryan Shazier is now 29, so he decreased by 7 attribute points and will begin to start decreasing a little bit more frequently. Brandon Cooks went down 4 overall points, which is quite worrisome. And then Jake Matthews is now 30, and he went down 7 overall points. So that's a little bit troublesome. As luckily we aren't like these guys went down 37 overall point or 37 attribute points. This guy AJ Green went down 53 attribute points. See, to me that's crazy because AJ Green is probably not going to be 79 overall in his entire career in Madden. Like, it's just not going to happen. I don't understand why they go way too hard into, you know, decreasing attribute points. Like, let's go to the Packers. Aaron Rodgers just won the Super Bowl, dominated, and now he's 80 overall. He lost 16 attribute points. Why? What did he do to make him, like, let's check out this dude's stats real quick. I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant, but his stats for the 2021 season, he had 3,900 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions, which I grant you his interception count was really high for his career. But compare that to, you know, like this season when he was 90-something overall. Why is he 80 now? Why is he 80 now? That does not make any sense whatsoever. It legitimately makes absolutely no sense. That's what bugs me. I mean, I know I'm going on a little bit of rant, but I don't think that they should have that insane of a decrease in overall points. The regression's just too crazy. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode. It's going to be quite one to edit, but thank you guys so much. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below for me because you already know your support's greatly appreciated, as well as subscribing to the channel. And we are going to go through the off season in the next episode, so I hope you guys are ready as we try and make our team that much closer to a Super Bowl champion.